Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Learn with Google Importance of Search webinar. Thanks for bearing with us. We wanted to give you a few minutes to get set up and make sure everybody is on the webinar and on the call. So my name is Bridget Black, and I work at Google on our agency training team. So for most of my day job, I train large agency partners on Google products. Today we're going to be talking about search specifically. We'll be talking about the importance of search in general, and we'll also be talking about some of the more tactical things that you can do to make the most out of this opportunity. Before I get started, I wanted to go over a few housekeeping items so we all know the rules of the road. The first thing is that although we're in a webinar and we're all in different locations, I would love it if we could make this as interactive as possible. There is a Q&A opportunity, and my fabulous teammate Sarah is taking the role of ghostwriter for the day, so she'll be in the chat room answering your questions while I give the verbal presentation. The one thing I want to note is that there are many of you on the call, and there are only 2 of us, so we'll do our very best to answer as many questions as possible, but we won't be able to answer any account-specific questions, and if the numbers are too large, we may have to prioritize questions as well. So I wanted to just give you that heads up. Also, if you are a tweeter, you can find us at AdWords and with the hashtag Google Webinar. If you have any feedback you'd like to send out into the Twitterverse. We're live now, but if a coworker can't make it, or if you'd like to send a copy of this webinar to your team, or maybe you yourself want to go back and review some of the points that we've made, a recording will be available at google.com/ads/learn. That's the Learn with Google website, and you can view all of the content on demand. We won't be sending slides after the deck, but we will send you a link to the recording. Also, while we're talking about what happens after this webinar, if you'd like more info, we have some great resources available on the Resources tab. Some of them include the Inside Search blog, the official Google blog, and some of our Google support websites. So if you want to check that out, that's a great way to stay connected and on top of all the developments in search after we're done with this webinar. So finally, I have one favor to ask of you, and it is to please fill out the survey at the end when we come to the conclusion of the webinar. We actively review that feedback, and we use it to determine what offerings we have for you in coming quarters. So if there's content that you'd love to see next, or if you have feedback about this content in particular, it would be fabulous if you could share it with us. So without any more ado, let's get started. And let's get started by thinking about why we're talking about search. We're talking about search because it can help you do a lot of different things. Search can help make your products known. It can drive consumer impressions of your brand. It can drive conversions. It can help users find the information that they're looking for. And of course, as we have on this slide, it can help you win new business. So with that opportunity in mind, we're going to look at this in 6 different ways, or we're going to look at search in 6 different ways. The first subtopic that we'll focus on is that search is big. Search is very big. We'll talk about some of the opportunities, and we'll talk about how huge search is. And we won't go into too much detail because I think most of you know how big search is. But at the same time, it's great to get our feet on the ground with the concept of really the enormity of the opportunity. The second thing we'll talk about is that search is constantly changing, constantly evolving. I think sometimes people think of search as something pretty static. It was invented, well, not invented, but it really came rose on the public radar about 15 years ago, and then some people think it hasn't changed. But it's changed a lot, and it's changing a lot currently. So we'll look at some of those changes in the second section. Third, search is important throughout the purchase funnel. So at any point in a consumer's purchase consideration journey, search is relevant. Fourth, search can help you win moments that matter. It can help you connect to consumers at the right times and in the right ways. Search can enable better decisions. That's our fifth subtopic. And sixth, search can help you constantly innovate. So, on our first subtopic, search is big. Search is one of the most popular online activities. There are more than 1 billion searches done each day, and more than half of those come from outside the U.S. That is a ton of searches. There's 7 billion people on the planet, so really we're saying that 1 in every 7 people on the entire planet, old, young, access to a computer, searching constantly on a phone, wherever people fall on the really wide spectrum, 1 in 7 of them are searching every single day. And people are using search to get more information, to learn more about certain subjects, and also to answer questions. People are searching a lot, but they're actually searching more than ever, and they are searching in ways that they weren't before. So as I mentioned, and as we'll go into in a separate section, search is constantly evolving. We see with Google internal data, we can see that 16% of the searches that we see are new searches. So these are maybe products that didn't exist or combinations and queries that we may not have seen. We see users getting more and more sophisticated in the specificity of their search queries. And as advertisers, these are important things to keep track of because it gives you insight on where you can align your brand and how you can take advantage of it. So in 2012, there have been 11 billion incremental U.S. advertising dollars, so $11 billion more spent this year than in previous years. And of that, 8 billion is incremental in digital. So a lot of that new advertising money is being spent in digital formats. And of that, half of it is spent in search. So I wanted to call this to your attention because this indicates that the market is catching on to the untapped potential. Competitors, or possibly you, people are catching on to the opportunity and they're taking advantage of it. So I'll pause there. If anyone has questions, Sarah's going to highlight any super important questions to me, but it looks like right now we're all good in the chat room. So I'm going to keep going on to our next topic, which is that search is constantly changing. Some of you may remember Google when it looked like this. This is a screenshot of what Google looked like in 2001. And aside from the slightly outdated font, there are a lot of other things that have changed in the last 11 years. Search today is faster, it is more precise, and it's more personalized than it was 11 years ago. Our arrows on the screen are pointing out some of the things that have evolved over the last 11 years. Google will make suggestions and instantly bring up search results. It lets you preview results. It offers ads with site links that bring you deeper into the content that you're looking for. Videos show up directly in search results. Images show up directly in search results. You can change the location so that your content is slightly localized using location as an indicator. And you can customize the search in a number of other ways. So going through these a little bit more in detail, at the top of the page, when I mentioned Google Instant, one thing I wanted to note is that that is a search enhancement that shows results as you type, which saves users about 2 to 5 seconds on average. In the world of search and search development, that's a huge improvement, that's a huge accomplishment. Below the query, you'll also notice Instant Preview, which allows users to preview the site before they click on the result. And this can let a user quickly determine whether or not the result is what they're looking for or whether they'd rather click on a different link. Also, in the left-hand navigation bar in the Customize options, this makes search more personal for the users, and it's another way that Google's constantly working to make search results a better, richer, and more relevant experience for users. So search itself and the search page is changing, but so is the way that people search. And as advertisers, this may be even more interesting to you than the technology innovations behind the way that search works. So let's talk a little bit about usage trends and how people are using search. Mobile search is expanding dramatically. In fact, according to Google's data, mobile searches have grown 5 times in the last 2 years. The truth is that most people with smartphones are walking around with the equivalent of a computer in their pocket. So people are searching on the go. People are searching for immediate results. On the slide here, we have an example of 2 women walking down the street in New York City, and they're looking for a place to get lunch. So they entered lunch into their smartphone, and they saw search results pop up like the ones on the page. The world's information is accessible to them simply from their phone and by typing in 5 letters into the search bar. So users are really using search in different ways, and we can see that in other examples as well. So on this slide, people are connected all day and across all devices. So people, you can see on the chart that people are more likely to use desktop computers in the blue line in the working hours, and then it drops off pretty significantly after that. Tablets on the red line spike in the evening, and mobile phones have a steady climb throughout the day but also go up the most in the after work hours. So this is showing us that people are using these devices, they're integrating them into their lives, and the way that they're searching is different. What you might search for and consume on a tablet is certainly different from what you might search for on your desktop, on your desk in your office. And so these create potential opportunities for marketers to reach consumers at a moment of relevance. So moving right along to our third subtopic, search is important throughout the purchase funnel. It's interesting to consider that the changes that we've discussed in user search behavior when you think of them alongside the three mental model of marketing levers. So on this slide, we have 3 different stages of a consumer's purchase funnel. There's the stimulus, which drove them to go into a store, which creates the first moment of truth. In this model, we have the stimulus, which drives users into the store, and at that moment there is something that we call the first moment of truth. At this moment, a user either decides to purchase a product or doesn't. Following that, we have the second moment of truth, which is when the user goes home and uses that product or engages with that service. However, search has entered the process. Search is now has disrupted in some way and become a part of, in other ways, that process. So some of the ways that search enters that is that 57% of people talk more online than they talk in real life. That means they probably email, text, post on Facebook, post on Google+, and they do that with as much or more frequency as they would talk to their families, roommates, etc. And in 2011, the average U.S. shopper consulted 10.4 sources prior to purchase, which was twice as many as the year before. And 1 in 4 search results for the world's top 20 largest brands are actually links to user-generated content. Maybe it's a fan blog, or maybe it's a review written by a user, but all of a sudden this content is readily available and it is a part of how people determine which products to purchase. That brings us to a whole new model, where search is a big part of the purchase funnel. Now there's a 4 moments model. And people are sharing so much online that that first moment of truth when the user is in the store or at the point of purchase is actually too late. It's the 0 moment of truth where people are making decisions, and that happens in the moments that we saw in the previous slide. So in this decision journey, you have an opportunity to use search to reach users in that 0 moment of truth, which is actually reaching users at the most relevant moment because it's when they're deciding which product they're going to go after. I'm going to take a brief pause to make sure we don't have any questions to address in the larger group. All right, looks good. So, the fourth thing that we'll discuss is that search can help you win the moments that matter. So we saw some really important moments in the new path to purchase in the slides that we just went through. Let's talk about how to actually win some of those moments and some of the more specific things that you can do to make sure that you're using search effectively. And before we go through all these next 3 sections, I wanted to highlight 3 themes. Google is working to make the web work for you. So the 3 ways that we are considering that and we're trying to work towards that goal is by winning moments that matter, by engaging billions of people in the right context with personalized experiences that they love, by enabling better decisions, by accessing unique customer, industry, and performance insights, and by constantly innovating by tapping into technology that works together, driving scale and simplification. So we're going to look at how search can work along all of those 3 goals. And the first is we'll talk about winning moments that matter. Using search to do this, you can use search to do this in a number of ways, but the first way that I'll highlight is by using site links. Site links are an ad extension which are very easy to implement. We're not going to be going too far into the implementation because we have a lot of topics to cover today, but if you'd like more information, support.adwords.com has some pretty good resources for a step-by-step on how to get this set up. And site links allow you to send a user or to provide a user with options to go deeper into your website and closer to the point of conversion. So for example, we have an insurance search ad here, and you could click directly on apply for an auto loan or get an auto insurance quote. You can insure your motorcycle, boat, or ATV. If, for example, you don't have a car, you're looking for insurance for your Harley Davidson and not your car, you'd probably want to go to that page instead of clicking on the home page and then trying to navigate to motorcycle insurance. So we see some pretty good click-through rate lift with the use of site links. For 3-line site links, we see a 40% average click-through rate. For 2-line site links, we see a 30% average click-through rate. For the 1-line site links, because you can do just one, do 10% average click-through rate, or click-through rate increase, I should say. And for mobile site links, we see a 30% click-through rate lift. I think it's especially important on mobile because screens are small and users tend to be a little less patient because phones are a bit harder to navigate and screens are small. So Another way that you can use search to win moments that matter is by using click-to-call, which is a mobile ad format. Click-to-call allows you to associate a phone number with your ad, and it does a couple of things that are pretty cool. One, it leans on the trend of users using their phone to make really immediate decisions. Where to get lunch, like we saw earlier. They have a flat tire. Where's the nearest gas station? Things like that. We see a lot of use for mobile search or search on mobile phones for activities like that. The other thing it does that's cool is it leans on the phone, not just as a computer in your pocket, but as actually something that you can use to call people. So what this does, and we're showing the newest version of this ad format here. You can see there's a call button. Previously, we had a phone number associated with these ads. Now there's just a big call button. It's slightly easier for users to click on, and it's cleaner, takes up less screen space. So if it were Valentine's Day and I had forgotten to send my mom flowers, and I searched flowers, and I needed to call them immediately because I was going home in 2 hours. This is a very elaborate example, but maybe you can tell it's sort of close to real life. So I would enter flowers, see this ad for 50% off of all flowers today, and I could call the florist immediately, find out if they deliver, and place a call. And place an order, I mean. Another way that you can use search to win moments that matter is by using hyperlocal ads, location extensions. These allow, again, they rely on, or they work with the trend of users using their mobile phones to make decisions that will occur in the immediate future and in their immediate geographic area. And you can expand or collapse the map. When this ad format shows, you'll see the little expansion button. Many of you are probably familiar with this. I know I am. I live in New York City, and I can rarely find my way around, so I'm always searching for things and expanding the map when it shows up. I actually really like this ad format because personally I use it a lot. So this one's Papa John's Pizza. And you want to know where it is, so you search for it. You can choose to expand the map. It will show you on the map exactly where it is. You can include a phone number, and it will display the user's distance to the business. So say you were this pizzeria, and I'm trying to find lunch, and I found out that you are 0.1 miles away. That's very useful information to me. It can probably help you win the sale rather than me standing on the corner knowing that this is somewhere nearby, but I don't actually know where. So that brings us to the conclusion of our fourth section. And I want to take a moment right now to answer one of the questions that came up in the chat. So the 0 moment of truth and the 3 moments of truth moving to the 3 mental model moving to the 4 moments model, that is something that we call ZMOT here internally, which stands for 0 moment of truth. And again, it's referring to the fact that by the time users get to the store, they've done so much research online that it's a little bit too late. And that used to work, that you could access users further down the purchase funnel and still win business, but in today's age and the way users engage with all of the digital information that's out there, the way they communicate with each other, the way they look for reviews online, that really presents an opportunity that occurs before users are that far down the funnel. So instead of calling it the first moment of truth, we're calling it the 0 moment of truth. And that's really where search can make a big difference. If you want more information on this, Google does a ton of information on this. And if you enter 0 moment of truth in your Google search bar, I can't actually think of the URL off the top of my head, but if you enter 0 moment of truth or ZMOT in your search bar, there's an entire website and study and a ton of information that's really cool. That will pop up, and you can go there to get more information or just as much maybe information as you could ever want on this theory and why we think it's so important to get in touch and find your users before they get to the point of purchase. And it's actually zeromomentoftruth.com. So another question that came through is that I think someone knows that they're right. So we used to show the phone number in the click-to-call ad format. We showed the actual number. So if it were 555-4422, you could click on those numbers, and that was the call button. What it does when you click on it is it populates your caller, your dialer on your phone, and then you still have to hit send, just in case anybody is hearing this and thinking that they would get a lot of errant clicks. It actually is still a two-step process, so it makes it a lot easier for the user, but for the advertiser, that second, you have to hit the call button in the dialer on your phone, and so that really weeds out unintentional clicks, if that's a concern of yours. But if you want to write down the actual phone number, the click-to-call format is moving away from showing those numbers, and we're showing the call button instead now. So you could still look at the advertiser's listing, or if they had a hyperlocal ad, that would still show the phone number. But the click-to-call format is viewing a call as a conversion or a type of conversion, and so we're moving towards that button that we saw a few slides ago, which is just the call button. All right. So let's move on to our fifth section, which is that search can enable better decisions. To make better decisions, advertisers should leverage the fact that online advertising is pretty uniquely measurable, especially search. So we have some tools that let you take advantage of this. I've heard search referred to as a new type of research. I have heard that it's kind of a database of human intentions and human interests, what's capturing human interest, as a really quick and easy way to look at what are people searching for right now. If you go to google.com/trends, it will show you the top 10 most popular searches. So often when I do this, I see something that I didn't know what was happening. And like once the actor David Cross's name was the #1 search term. And I clicked on that and I found that there was a celebrity news story that had just broken about David Cross. And that a lot of people were going online to find this article and were entering David Cross. I'm sure if you clicked on it today, it would be Lindsay Lohan because she got in a car accident last night. But it's interesting that search can harness that opportunity and can provide you with that type of information. What are people thinking about right now? If you want to uncover query trends and opportunities in a little more scientific way and a little bit more of a robust way, Google Insights for Search is a really awesome and powerful tool. It basically lets you see what the world is searching for. So it's google.com/insights/search. And when you go there, you can enter a search term. So say you went there and you entered Lindsay Lohan. It would show you the geographic areas where it's being searched for. As you can see on this example, people are searching in North America, and then it gets lighter where people are searching less or aren't searching at all. One example of this is that there was a motorcycle brand that was, when you went to Insights for Search, people were searching for it in the U.S. It was an American brand. But then we noticed that there was also a spike in Afghanistan, and we were wondering, or people at first, you might look at that and say, that's such a funny combination of geographic areas. And then when you think about it a little bit harder, there are a lot of service people and the troops are in Afghanistan, and they're searching for this American brand. So it's just a cool example of an insight that you can uncover by using this tool. It will map out when this search spikes in popularity, and you can manipulate the data there on that site in a number of different ways. So it's just a really powerful way that it will give you to get information to help you make a better decision. Another way that you can enable better decisions is by using zip code targeting. I've highlighted zip code targeting here, especially because we've been talking a lot about local opportunities and mobile opportunities. But I want to note that there are a lot of targeting opportunities. There's zip code targeting. There are over 40 languages available to target for search ads. On mobile, you can target device types, so you could target mobile phones and tablets, or you could target just tablets if you find that people search differently on tablets. So in general, targeting is a big opportunity, and specifically, zip code targeting lets you identify an area that's the most relevant and the most valuable to your brand, and then send your search ads only to that location. For example, if you were that flower shop we mentioned in the Valentine's Day example a few slides ago, and you are a mom and pop shop, you're only in a part of Boston, Massachusetts, you probably want to target by zip code or by a custom geographic area so that your search ad isn't showing up in Wisconsin or Seattle, Washington, where obviously users aren't going to have as much interest in purchasing from you as they would in a more local area. Another opportunity to enable better decisions with search is to use remarketing lists for search ads. Remarketing lists for search ads is a feature that lets you customize your search ads and customize your campaign for people who have previously visited your site. And then you can show them relevant ads when they're searching on Google. So when people visit your site but leave without converting, just as an example, remarketing lists for search ads can help you connect with these potential customers while they search for what they need. You can set your bids, you can create your ads, or select keywords, keeping in mind that these customers have already visited your site. This feature uses remarketing lists to enable customizations and lets you speak to this subset of users. And then two of the strategies, just to talk a little more specifically about remarketing lists, is that two of the strategies are that you can either bid on keywords that you normally wouldn't bid on for users who have recently visited your site or who have converted on your site in the past. Then you can generate incremental sales over a default campaign because you're reaching users and you're tailoring your message to them. The second strategy is to change bids and creatives for your existing keywords for the users on your remarketing list. I know remarketing is usually something that can be a little bit confusing. So if folks have questions about this, we can go back to the slide at the end of this section and we'll talk about it a little bit more. But if you understand it, we'll just keep moving along. So I'll wait to see what shows up in the chat. Another tactic that you can use to enable better decisions is to use the Auction Insights report. And with the Auction Insights report, you can see how successful your keywords are in terms of impression share, average position, and other statistics in relation to those of other advertisers who are participating in the same auctions. So since every search ad is an auction-based placement, or it's done on an auction, this is actually kind of showing you the hand of the person sitting across the table from you, or at least that's the way that I think of it. It lets you see the impression share, average position, other statistics in relationship to the people who are also in those same auctions. I think that that's another way to really enable some smart budgeting decisions and some smart keyword decisions. So finally, the third thing I want to highlight is that Google AdWords, Google in general, but AdWords in particular, is great for giving you data to enable better decisions. Oh, we're stuck. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. The slide didn't advance. So using targeting and measurement tools that are available in AdWords and analytics and through things like the Insights for Search tools allows you to make better decisions by giving you information about what's converting well, what's working, what's a competitive bid on a search term, and what isn't. So you can diagnose opportunities using the first thing we talked about in this section, which is the Insights for Search tool. Reporting in AdWords is also an excellent tool. It's very easy to access. It's in the exact same places where you manage your campaigns, and it will show up in either really summary and overall views, or you can get some more precise data by customizing your reports. You can set auto-generated reports, so if you want to report monthly, you can set it so that it shows up monthly. There are a lot of opportunities for reporting in AdWords to be something that really drives better decision making. Google Analytics is an even more sophisticated version of that. This will give you the most detailed data and let you manipulate it in the ways that are the most important to your business. So using Google Analytics is another way that you can really make the best decisions possible for getting your brand out there. All right, and we're moving on to the next slide. If my computer will cooperate, there it goes. So we're on our final section now, and that is that search can help you constantly innovate. We already looked at the ways search itself is innovating, but how can you use search and what can you know about search that will help you be constantly innovative? So back in the day, search was blue links, no ads, really simple two-word queries. And we've moved so far past that. Now the goal of search is to provide not just answers and not just blue links, but better answers to the actual question they're looking for. If they're searching for pizza, are they looking for a recipe or are they looking for a store? So there are a number of different things that Google has that can potentially provide better answers. We have some of those opportunities in the slides that follow. So Google's goal has always been to provide the best results possible for anything that you want to search for. In the past, our systems operated at the level of words rather than real-world objects and relationships. So we would provide links related to the terms that you typed in, but not necessarily a direct answer to help you gain knowledge about what you're searching for. So it goes back to that, providing information for the specific question and inferring the specific question that the user is actually asking. So in order to take that big leap towards providing answers, Google wanted to start mapping the real world of things and understanding that there are a lot of things you might be looking for beyond just web pages with text. You could be looking for a Wikipedia page, you could be looking for a YouTube video, a link to purchase a cookbook. There are a number of things you could be looking for. And so recently Google launched a feature called the Google Knowledge Graph. It's an enormous database with over 500 million objects that contains billions of facts, which are details about the objects, and then relationships between the objects. If that sounds a little confusing to you, it's because it's pretty sophisticated. And so Google has kind of subcategorized things and created algorithms so that search will run knowing what are objects, what are facts, and what are relationships between objects. This feature draws on information from a database that we acquired a few years ago. It also draws on sites like Wikipedia, the CIA Facts database, music catalogs, movie catalogs, of course ones that we have licenses to, and more. I got a quick note that there may have been a sound issue between Auction Insights and Google Analytics. So at the end of this, I'll leave time to go back and clarify those slides. But let's keep on with this part of the presentation now, and then we can go back to that in a few. So keeping on with the knowledge graph and what the knowledge graph is. It enables us to provide information in the knowledge panel, which is on the right, highlighted in red, being pointed to by the big arrow. And here's an example of what you might see if you searched for San Francisco Giants. With Knowledge Graph, Google knows that the San Francisco Giants are a professional baseball team. So, like all professional baseball teams, they have a manager, they belong to a division, they have a home stadium, they have some championships, they have a roster of players, and so on and so on. So the type of information we surface in the knowledge panel is influenced by what details about an object people seem to be searching for. People searching for San Francisco Giants are usually looking for scores and schedules, and we've already been showing that information above organic results. Additional details people generally want to know have to do with players on the team, the division, and historical details. We're hoping with all of this to provide a better, more direct path to knowledge for people in terms of what they're actually looking for. And the knowledge graph also helps you find the right thing. So, for example, if you search for Kings, it's not always clear whether you mean the hockey team, the basketball team, or the TV program. With the knowledge graph, we can suggest refinements that help you get to the right thing more often. And then we'll use the knowledge graph to filter the results, so you'll see results pages about the TV program only when that's what you're looking for. With all of that said about knowledge graph and all the developments in the way that Google delivers search results and uses different indicators to understand or infer the answers to the question that users are asking, search is constantly innovating. So the question becomes, as a marketer, are you constantly innovating? Are you thinking outside the box? Are you taking advantage of all of the different formats that are available? And do you fully understand the way that search works and how important and sophisticated it really is from the user's perspective? Hopefully in this webinar, we've been able to give you some more answers to those questions and been able to drive your strategy towards a more refined point. So in general, to recap our 6 different sections and our 6 key factors about search. Search is really, really big. We have 1 billion queries a day. Search is done per day. Search is constantly changing. It's not just blue links on a page anymore. Search is important throughout the purchase funnel, and if you want more information on that, zeromomentoftruth.com can really elaborate on that section. Search can help you win moments that matter. So at the moment that a user is looking for your brand or your product, are you able to find the user at that moment? Search can enable better decisions. Are you using the data around search? Are you using reporting and insights and all the tools that you could be using to make better decisions about how to spend your advertising and how to strategize with creative and keywords? And finally, search can help you constantly innovate. Search itself is innovating all the time, and are you able to take advantage of that by remaining ahead of the curve? So I'll pause here. I'll see if there are questions, and then I promise I'll go back for a few minutes to explain the insights report again, because I believe there was a sound issue. All right, so let's go right back to, all right, we'll quickly go through insights for search, because I think that was one of the areas where the sound may have cut out. Insights for search, google.com slash, let me make sure I have this URL right. Google.com/insights/search. I can never remember if it's insights/search or search/insights, but it's google.com/insights/search. And this allows you to leverage that online advertising is measurable, and search and what the world is searching for there's a database of information around that, and you can find out and uncover new and unique ways to line up your ads against relevant search terms. So the other area where we're getting questions is where to find the auction insights report. So you can see here that I've jumped back a few slides to the auction insights report. And so sign into your AdWords account at adwords.google.com. Then you want to click the Campaigns tab. Then click the Keywords tab. Then you want to click the Filter button above your statistics table and click Create Filter. And you can see how different keywords, how successful different keywords were in terms of the impression share, the average position, top of page rate, and other statistics. So the cool thing is that you can see on the green bar here is that you're showing up and your results are showing up relevant to other advertisers who are participating in the same auctions. So like I said, it's sort of like sitting across a card table from somebody and being able to see what's in their hand. All right, are there any other questions? All right, well, I want to thank everybody for your time. We finished up a few minutes early. Hopefully that means you all get to your next meetings on time and you can take that time back in your day. Oh, we have one more question coming in. But anyway, before